What do you see all the line that the Earth travels around the Sun? Orbit.
What do you see? All, a person who is guilty in terms of law. Convict, criminal, offender.
What is the name of rugby sportswear? Rugby jersey.
What is the literature that withstands centuries? Classic literature? What object has 3 legs and can support a camera? Tripod.
Who serves and helps passengers in a plane? Flight attendant, cabin crew, air hostess. What do we see all a person who reads a book? Reader.
What document would doctors give patients for them to buy medicines? Prescription.
If a flight is not international, then what is it called? Domestic.
What do we see all are programs that run on a computer? Software.
What do we see all the marine animal that has 8 legs? Octopus.
What do we see all a fear of large and open space? Agoraphobia.
Who prepares and sells medicine in shops or hospitals? Chemist. Pharmacist. What do we see all a document sent by email? Attachment. If ears are for hearing, what are for seeing? Eyes.
What fruit category includes orange, mandarin, and lemon? Citrus.
What utensils do we commonly use to eat food with? Fork, spoon, knife.
What do we see all the pictures taken by the cell phone? Mobile photos. Cell phone photos.
Where do tourists ride a bus? Bus stops, bus stations. What do we see all a person undergoing illness? Patient.
What term is used to describe a person who rides waves on a special board in the ocean? Surfer.
What do we see all a circular boat? Coracle.
How many sides is a peninsula surrounded by water from? Three.
What is the joint between your upper arm and forearm? Elbow.
What series of process will politicians go through for election? Campaign. Campaigns.
How do we see all a person who writes his own story? Autobiographer.
What is a line that divides a circle into halves? Diameter.
What is the opposite of north? South.
What is the activity of inhaling tobacco substances? Smoking.
What do we see all a reward paid to an employee at the end of the year? Year-end bonus.
What do we see all a person who is registered for the election? Candidate.
What are the animals that have fins? Fish. What is the political system in which a country is ruled by a king or a queen? Monarchy.
What do you see all the case you use to carry documents? Briefcase. Portfolio. What kind of food do almonds, pistachios, and walnuts fall into? Nut. What is the color of the medal that an athlete at the third place gets in the Olympics? Bronze.
What is the term used for see-through items such as clear glass? Transparent.
What do we see all a 12-month accounting period used by governments, companies, and organizations for financial reporting and budgeting purposes? Fiscal year.
What is the subject to study the past events? History. What unit do we use to measure temperature? Degrees Celsius.
What do you see all of the curve of a road or a river? Bend.
What is the opposite of the word import? Export.
What is the hair called that grows on the skin of a sheep? Wool.
What day is the first day of a week, which starts with T? Tuesday.
What do we see all a professional who provides expert advice in a particular field? Consultant.
What do we see all the different forms of money that a country uses? Currency.
What is the low land between two hills or mountains? Valley.
What do we describe an event which happens once every year? Annual. What do we see all a river falling from a mountain? Waterfall. What do we see all of the period between childhood and adulthood? Adolescence. Puberty.
What do we see all the sound when people clap their hands? Applause.
What vehicle runs on railways? Train.
How many sides does a hexagon have? 6.
What do you see all a person sitting beside you? Seatmate. Neighbor.
What do you see all the son or the daughter of your uncle? Cousin. What is the opposite of dangerous? Safe.
What is the opposite of groom? Bride. What do you see all the female partner in a marriage? Wife.
What is the opposite of wet? Dry.
What do we see or the thing we use to put into the lock and open it? Key.
What do we see all the salary regularly received by a retiree? Pension. Where do buses stop? Bus station. Bus stop.
What do we see all a member of the same team or group? Teammate, colleague. What shines at night in the sky and uses its own brightness? Star.
What is the legal document protecting someone's intellectual property? Patent.
Which button do we use to remove something from computer? Delete. Backspace. Which one word is used for a brother or sister? Sibling?
What do you see? All the huge heavenly bodies that orbit the sun. Planets.
What do we see all a person who extracts minerals from the ground? Miner.
When you want to do some baking, where would you go to buy some flour, a florist or a grocery? Grocery.
Where do marine animals live? Sea. Ocean.
Where can you find index in the book? At the end of the book.
What is the organ below your eyes? Nose.
What do you read when you order food in a restaurant? Menu. What do you see all a professional trained to treat illnesses? Dr. Medicina?
Which part of the human body is related to the word visual? Eye.
What do we see? All a person who sets fire to a house. Arsonist, fire raiser.
What do we see all a doctor who treats people suffering from mental illnesses? Psychiatrist.
What is the main building of a large company or an organization? Headquarters.
What do you use in a nonverbal communication with expressions to convey a message effectively? Body language. Sign language.
What is the opposite of the minus sign? Plus sign.
What is the star that gives heat and light to the Earth? Sun.
What is full of water and separates continents? Ocean.
What do we see all a scientist who studies planets and stars? Astronomer. What shows dishes before you order? Menu.
What is typically deposited in a bank? Money, savings, checks.
What do we see all the person who plays sports to make a living? Athlete, sportsman, sportswoman.
What do we see all a statement that shows fees of essential services such as electricity, gas, water, and internet? Bill, bills, utility bill.
What do we see all a person who writes poems? Poet.
What do employees get at the end of the month? Salary. Salaries.
What do we see all 1,000 years? Millennium.
What's the job title of a person who has the overall responsibility for the design of a large building? Architect. What is a strip of hard ground along which aircraft take off and land? Runway.
What do we see all a word or a group of words with a particular meaning, such as the other day? Expression. Phrase.
If you have an appointment on Wednesday and today is Thursday, you will have the appointment yesterday or tomorrow. Yesterday. What is the ripening agent or chemical substance to ripen fruits? Ethylene. What's the name of the company that produce books? Publisher, publishing house, press.
Where are you going if you are in a downward direction in a map? South.
What is the wet place? Does crocodile prefer to live in? Swamp, marsh. What is the opposite of guilty? Innocent.
How many millimeters are there in a centimeter? 10. When you accelerate a car, what does your foot step on? Gas pedal, accelerator, acceleration pedal.
What is tomorrow if today is present? Future.
What do we see all the sound or movement of the heart? Beat, heartbeat. What do we see all the money banks charge customers? Interest.
What do we see order the tool with two sharp blades to cut paper or cloth? Scissors.
What do we see all the dance, which involves the use of toes and jumping? Ballet.
What do they see all the pieces of puzzle which players try to piece together? Jigsaw puzzle. Where do weddings happen? Church, wedding venue, temple. What do we see all the phenomenon that a volcano throws out lava, ash, and steam? Erupt, eruption.
What do we see all the sounds at the beginning of a movie? Opening song, opening theme.
What is the behavior when an animal changes its color to match the environment for protection? Camouflage.
From where can you have a full view of a building, the outside, inside, or top? Outside.
What category do the bee, the butterfly, and the mosquito fall into? Insect. Insects.
How many sides does an octagon have? 8.
What do we see all people going to space? Astronauts. What is the process of breaking down plastic and glass and using it again? Recycling.
What do we see? All a person who is hurt in a criminal case. Victim.
How many days are there in 1 year? 365.
Which is the season of the year when plants start growing again? Spring. What do we see all the lenses which people use instead of glasses? Contact lenses. Does mathematics or linguistics cover the study of the relations between numbers? Mathematics.
If you do something every day, you do daily what? Routine.
Where is a suspect convicted of a crime? Court.
Which continent is Canada located in? North America.
What's the gray thing in the sky when it's about to rain? Cloud.
What do we see all the long orange thing that grows underground? Carrot. What do we see all the party in power? Ruling party. Ears are for hearing. What are eyes for? Vision.
What movement can babies do before they can sit and walk? Crawl. Crawling.
What word can describe both a color and the environment? Green.
What do we see all or one of 4 equal parts of something? Quarter.
Which word is to describe a bad dream? Nightmare.
What part of the body propels a flying bird in the air? Wing. What do we see all a man who is getting married? Groom. Bridegroom.
What is fake money called? Counterfeit money. Fake note.
What do we see? All a person whose job is cutting up and selling meat. Butcher.
What substance would farmers spread into the soil in order to make plants grow more successfully? Fertilizer.
What do we see all a shape of 6 sides? Hexagon.
How many years are there in a half of a decade? 5.
What do we see all a person who trains a team in a particular sport? Coach. What subject studies the science of animal behavior? Ethology.
What do we see all the thing that covers a bride's face? Veil.
Where do people usually go to deposit money? Bank.
What is the joint connecting the foot to the leg? Ankle.
What is the connecting part between 2 bones? Joint.
What do we see all a woman who is getting married? Bride.
What do we see all a person who writes and checks financial reports? Accountant. Auditor.
What special document do most people need to carry when they travel between countries? Passport.
How do butterflies fly? Flutter. A manufacturing process releases poisonous gases. What is the most important safety measure for workers at this plant, ensuring good ventilation or appropriate footwear? Ensuring good ventilation.
How many years does it typically take to finish undergraduate study? 3 years. 4 years.
Which kind of book can we find Africa maps? Atlas.
Which one is past tense? Has gone, went, or going? Went. In the library, which books we are not allowed to bring them out with ourselves? Closed reserve book. Closed reserve books.
A dozen is a grouping of which number? 12.
Which one is quicker, running, jogging, or walking? Running.
What is the opposite word of stale? Fresh.
What type of shape has 4 right corners, 4 lines that are equal in length? Square.
What is the feature that guitars and violins have in common? String. Strings. What stellar system do the planets such as Saturn, Jupiter belong to? Solar system.
What does the sun do during dawn? Sunrise. Rise. How do you see all a student that has finished his first year? Sophomore.
In statistics, what is a circle divided into many parts called? Pie chart.
What is the collection of pictures called? Album.
What kind of drugs are used for killing bacteria? Antibiotics.
What do we see all the first paragraph of a report? Introduction.
Which part of your leg can make it possible to bend? Knee.
What will snow become after it melts? Water.
When something has increased by triple, how many times does it increase? 3.
If a newspaper published every day is daily, a magazine published every week is weekly, what do we see all a magazine published 4 times a year? Quarterly.
If you invented something, what can you apply for to prevent others copying your invention? Patent.
Who is a physician who performs surgical operations? Surgeon.
Before aeroplanes were invented, how did people travel from America to Europe? Ship.
What do we see all the liquid which is in a car? Gasoline, petrol, gas, fuel, diesel.
Which color do we make by blending black and white? Gray.
How many eggs are there in a dozen? 12.
Which literary genre describes all details of a famous person's life? Biography, autobiography.
In mathematics and arithmetic, there are addition, multiplication, division. What's the other one? Subtraction. How do we see all that animals and plants preserved in the rocks? Fossil. What do you need to submit for completing a degree in the university? Dissertation. Thesis.
What is the room that is under the ground floor? Basement. What is the place you share bedroom with your classmates? Dormitory.
Where do people go to watch plays? Theatre, theatre.
What is the habitat of camels? Desert. What instrument would scientists use to examine very small life forms? Microscope.
Which part of our bodies do we use nasal spray in? Nose, nostril.
What is the musical instrument which has both pedals and strings? Harp, piano.
What do we see all the pen that receive its ink from its reservoir? Fountain pen.
What is the thing used for sun protection in summer? Sunscreen, sunblock, sun cream. What is the process where the color becomes lighter and lighter when exposed to sunlight for a long time? Fade.
What thing do postgraduate students have that undergraduate students don't? Bachelor degree.
In the solar system, which heavenly body produces sunshine? Sun.
Who is the Swiss greatest scientist in physics? Einstein.
Jack is having a presentation on Wednesday. Today is Tuesday. When will Jack have his speech? Today, tomorrow, or next week? Tomorrow.
What do we see all people who work on ship or plane? Crew.
Whose job is making and repairing wooden objects and structures? Carpenter.
What does submediterranean refer to? Climate.
What do we see all the persons move to a more important job or rank in a company? Promotion.
Which day of the week starts with the? Thursday.
What do we see all the subject that studies weather and temperature? Meteorology. Climatology. What do you see all the buildings of a university or college and the land around them? Campus.
What do we see all a machine which carries people from one floor to another in a high building? Lift. Elevator.
What do you see all the word type like UK or USA? Acronym.
How many days are there in a fortnight? 14.
What is the act of reusing waste materials? Recycling. If someone tells something funny to you, what is your reaction? Laugh. Laughing.
If a building is 1,000 meters high, from where do we measure the height? Sea level.
What do we see all the treatment in which people use needles to ease others' pain? Acupuncture.
What is the opposite direction of sunrise? West.
What do humans and animals need to inhale for survival? Air, oxygen. How do you describe a line that segments a circle? Chord. What organ on your face do you breathe with? Nose.
How many years are there in a century? 100.
What is the heading at the top of an article or page in a newspaper or magazine? Headline.
What do you see all a statue or a building that is dedicated in memory of someone? Monument. Memorial. What is the name of the liquid in the pen? Ink.
What do people usually use to cut food in the plate? Knife.
What is the opposite of a synonym? Antonym. In sport, what do we see all the cloths that we wear and end above the knee? Shorts. Where are goods stored before sale? Warehouse. Inventory. Stock. Store.
Which one of the 5 senses is attributed to the nose? Smell, olfactory sense.
We see all a person used to using the right hand or right-hander. And what do we see all a person if the left hand? Left-hander.
What do we see all a long, metal stick a player uses to hit the ball in golf? Club.
What do we see all the relation between a husband and his wife? Marriage. What do we see all 3 children born at the same time to the same mother? Triplets.
What do we see all a car that needs to be charged? Electric car. Electric vehicle.
What do we see all a people who help others get insurance? Insurance agents, insurance brokers.
What is the opposite of maximum? Minimum.
Where do passengers stand waiting for a train in the railway station? Platform.
What do we see all a short piece of writing containing the main ideas in a document? Abstract. Summary.
What do we see all buying and transporting goods from another country? Import. What do we see on a ship that carries goods from one place to another? Freighter, cargo ship, merchant ship.
What is BA for, such as history and literature? Bachelor of Arts.
What do we see all a political institution or body that is responsible for a country? Government.
Who flies an airplane? Pilot.
What does the word TV stand for? Television.
What is the antonym of entrance? Exit.
What is the barrier that can prevent floods from damaging our home? Dam. When you bake a cake, what do you put the cake into? Oven.
When we say someone is doing the BA in history or literature in the university, what does BA stand for? Bachelor of Arts.
Which part of the body is related to the word optical? Eye. What do we see all the line between a sunset and the sea? Sea skyline. Horizon. What do we see all the people who move from one country to another country, usually for work or a better life? Migrants.
What do we see all drawings or writing on a wall, especially in a public place? Graffiti.
What do you see all your cousin's father? Uncle.
What is the top surface inside the room? Ceiling.
What do we see all the event in which people move through a public place to celebrate an important day or event? Parade.
How many times does an isolated incident occur? One. Once.
What do you see all of the medicine that is used against headache? Painkiller. Painkiller?
What geometric shape are circumference, diameter, and radius related with? Circle.
What is the straight line between the center of a circle and any point on its outer edge? Radius. What is the generic term for a person who once had the same title as you have now? Predecessor.
What do we see all a person walking in the street or in a crosswalk? Pedestrian.
The sense of hearing will allow you to hear. Then what sense will allow you to see? Sight. What do we see all a liquid that is used for washing hair? Shampoo.
What do we see all the cool area under a tree? Shade.
What do we see all a character in movies who holds superior power to humans? Superman.
What do we see all the action of giving money to influence someone in power? Bribe. What do we see all the type of energy that uses uranium to generate electricity? Nuclear.
What do we see all a person undergoing treatments in hospital? Patient.
What is the opposite of horizontal? Vertical.
What revolves around the Earth? Moon.
What is the process of choosing a person for a position by voting? Election.
What do we see all the extra working time? Overtime.
What do we see all a horse-like animal with a single horn on the head? Unicorn.
What do we see all ASML? Soft creature with a hard round shell on its back that moves very slowly. Snail.
What do we see all of the behavior of not buying products from an exact company as a way of protesting? Boycott.
How do dumb people communicate with others? body language, sign language.
What do we use to rest our heads on in bed? Pillow. How many days does it take for a full moon to occur? 30.
What do we see all? A collection of large quantity. Bulk.
What are breakfast, lunch, and dinner examples of? Meal.
What handicap equipment is used for broken legs? Crutch, walking stick.
What do we see? All a diagram in which an object would appear to viewers if it were cut from top to bottom. Section.
What is a word or expression that has the same or nearly the same meaning as another in the same language? Synonym. What is the opposite of forwards? Backwards.
Who is the person who shares the same room with you? Roommate.
What is the synonym of destiny? Fate, fortune. What do we see all E statement presented in court by a defendant or a lawyer? Plea.
What type of work is a sabbatical a lengthy time away from? Teaching.
What is the three-dimensional shape of circle? Sphere.
What do we see all of the water flowing down the cliff? Waterfall.
What will you hear after a flash of lightning? Thunder.
What is a person who thinks only of himself called? Egoist, I selfish.
How many years are there in a bicentennial? 200. 200. What is the name of male sheep? Ram.
Where can we find the page numbers of books? Footer. What do you see all the food made without applying chemicals or artificial additives? Organic food.
Which part of our body does a gastroscope look into? Stomach.
What is the act of jumping into the water? Diving. What do we see all famous people? Celebrity.
What do we use to launch a space shuttle? Rocket. Booster.
In the sentence, he has been quite upset since he went back to school. Which word uses a past tense? Went.
What is the study of religion called? Theology.
What heavenly body makes an object cast a shadow during the day? Sun.
What do we see all a child who will soon be a teenager? Preteen. Tween.
What is the storyline or the series of scenes of novels, movies, short stories, or plays? Plot. Scenario.
What do we see all a person who writes a book? Author. Writer.
What do you see all the country where you were born? Motherland, homeland.
What are wine glasses and spectacles made of? Glass.
What do we see all a person who studies mystery? Mystic. Occult.
What do we see all a device that cuts grass? Mower.
When a runner runs, what is this state of breathing? Gasp.
What material is normally used to make windows and light bulbs? Glass.
What do we see all a person who leaves college before finishing the studies? Drop out.
What do we see all a person who lives permanently? Immortal.
What includes everything in the world, such as stars and planets? Universe, cosmos.
What do we see? All a large building with a square base and triangular sides. Pyramid.
What is the verb that describes traveling on boat? Cruise, voyage, sail.
What do we see? Or a set of answers to exercises or problems. Key.
What do we see? All a material that helps to insulate the burn. Dressing, bandage. What is the room in which you keep things when you don't need them? Storeroom, storeroom.
What do we see all a powered truck used to lift and move materials over short distances? Forklift, lift truck.
What is the opposite of multiple? Single.
What is the highest position in the embassy? Ambassador. What drink do people get from cows? Milk.
What do we see? Or the document in which a political party announces their plans before elections. Manifesto. What is a list of historical events arranged in time order? Chronology. Timeline.
What do you see? All a seat with legs, but with nothing to support your arms or back. Stool.
What is the direction of the longitude lines on the Earth's surface? Vertical.
What do we see all the opening in the face used for speaking and eating? Mouth.
What is the bone structure that protects the brain? Skull. What do you see? Or a person who lives next to your house? Neighbor. What do we see? Or the selling and transporting of goods to another country? Export, exportation.
What do we see all an experienced person who advises and helps less experienced people? Mentor.
What do we see all a person who does a job without being paid? Volunteer.
What object do we open a window or a door by? Handle.
What do you see all the brother of your father or mother? Uncle.
What is the nominal form of the wide? Width.
What do you see all a picture or design permanently on your skin made with a needle and ink? Tattoo.
What subject involves the study of the periodic table? Chemistry.
What do we see all the legal document that states how people's property should be allocated after their deaths? Testament. Will.
What is the ceremony where two people get married? Wedding.
What gas will be formed from the boiling water? Water vapor.
What clothing do people wear, such as students or nurses, to show that they belong to the same organization? Uniform.
What does subterranean mean? Underground. What do people hold overhead when it is raining? Umbrella.
What are buses, trains, and cars used for? Travel, transport, transportation.
What do you see all people who travel to visit famous sightseeing locations? Tourists.
What are the people who study religions? Theologians, theologists.
What animal is a shepherd responsible for? Sheep. How many days are there in a week? 7. 7.
What is the section in the library called, where you can only read, but cannot bring the books out of the library? Reserve collection. What is the opposite of the word public, for example, when describing an event? Private.
If an event happens annually, how often does it happen? Once a year.
Where in the campus are the periodical collections located? Library. In what room do scientists usually do experiments? Laboratory.
What do you see all a baby cat? Kitten.
What is the line where the sky meets the land? Horizon. Skyline.
If you are celebrating a biannual activity, how many years ago did you celebrate it last time? Half a year. How many quarters are there in a calendar year? 4. 4.
What is the boat that carries people from one side of a river to the other? Ferry. What does a thermometer measure? Body temperature. Temperature.
What do you see or the son of your sister or brother? Nephew.
If a couple has a pair of children, how many children do they have? 2. 2.
What do you see all a difficult time when economic activities slow down and there are more people unemployed? Recession.
What device do you use to type when you use a computer? Keyboard.
Apart from coffee and hot chocolate, what beverages also contain caffeine? Tea, Coke, cocoa.
Which continent do China, India, Korea, and Japan locate in? Asia.
When a person's blood alcohol content is higher than the standard range, what activity are they not allowed to do? Driving.
What would you see? Or a doctor who treats sick animals? Vet, veterinarian.
What is the occupation that transfers one language to another language? Translator.
What device is used to measure the height of mountains? Altimeter?
What does the color green help for? Sight. Eyesight.
In the word postgraduate, what does post mean? After.
What is the description of events that is spoken with background music during a film or a play? Narration.
What is the term used to describe a period of 7 days? Week.
What do forks, spoons, and knives belong to? Cutlery.
What is the list that shows the names of actors and actresses in a movie? Cast.
What do we see all people who write songs? Composers.
What do we see all the mass of snow, ice, and rock that falls down the side of a mountain? Avalanche.
What do we see all the extra performance that actors give? Encore.
How do you see all someone with no hair? But.
What is the thing which we use for painting and is made of hair? Brush.
When you have the primary, the secondary, what do you have next? Tertiary.
How many wheels does a bicycle have? 2. 2.
When trains or cars need to go through a mountain, where do they enter the mountain? Tunnel.
Which one is the odd one out among dog, cat, horse, and shoes? Shoes.
Which one in the 4 seasons has the lowest temperature? Winter.
What do we see all the prize that's sponsored by Sweden, which sets many prizes in literal and physics field? The Nobel Prize. Nobel Prize.
What material is used for most of vehicles and aircrafts? Metal, plastic, glass.
Which part of the hand do we use to pick up objects? Fingers.
What do we see all a person who repairs cars? Auto technician. Mechanic.
Would you go to a pharmacist or a surgeon to get a prescription filled after visiting a doctor? A pharmacist. Pharmacist.
How many years does a millennium have? 1,000.
What do we see all the ship that runs underwater? Submarine.
What is the opposite of division in mathematics? Multiplication.
What is the name of the student who has not completed his course? Undergraduate student.
How do we see all the car that uses two types of fuels? Hybrid. Hybrid car. Hybrid cars.
How do you see all the movements that the babies move by using hands and legs? Crawl. Crawling.
What are the 5 things in front of your foot? Toes.
What do you throw underwater to keep ships staying on rivers or oceans without drifting away? Anchor.
What is the joint called where your hand is connected to your arm? Wrist. Wrists.
What is the colorful sticker that is attached to an envelope? Stamp.
What is the word for a period of 100 years? Century.
What is the word in geometry for a shape that has 3 sides? Triangle. What device is used to take photographs? A camera. Camera.
What do we see all the ceremony where people get married? A wedding. The wedding. Wedding ceremony.
What is the opposite of exporting? Importing. What's the color of the medal that a champion gets? Golden. Gold.
What will ice become when it is heated? Water.
What is the antonym of vertical? Horizontal.
How many sides does a pentagon have? 5. 5.
What device do you use to measure your weight? Scale. Weighing scale.
What can bring astronauts to space? Spacecraft.
What do we see all a festival which is held every 4 years, gathering people together as a sporting event? Olympics. Olympic Games.
How do you see all the diagram which includes a horizontal line called x-axis and a vertical line called y-axis? Coordinate system.
Which organ is the blood pumped from? Heart. What do you see all a list in front of a book which outlines the structure of a book? Table of contents. What does a sundial measure? Time.
Which kind of mountain can erupt lava? Volcano. Volcanoes.
Which symbol is used to complete a sentence? Full stop. Period.
Who is the person that makes bread, cakes, and pastries? Baker.
What kind of book is written by a person about their own life? Autobiography.
What is it called when two or more people are speaking to each other? Conversation. Chat.
Would letter or email be the fastest way to get a message to your professor? Email. Email.
Would a supermarket or cafe or a bookstore probably have the widest range of products available? Supermarket. Where is a criminal kept as punishment? Prison. Jail.
What organ controls your speech, feelings, body movement, and thoughts? Brain.